Recently, President Obama criticized the networks for covering terrorism too much. He said, quote, "If you've been watching television for the last month, all you've been seeing, all you've been hearing about is these guys with mass or black flags who are potentially coming to get you." Now, that's partly true. They only cover Muslim terrorism wall to wall. So, yes, the Planned Parenthood shooting obviously got a lot of coverage. Did it get as much coverage as the Paris attacks, San Bernardino attacks? No. They're nonstop right-wing terrorism. There's the guys in Vegas who a little while back, if you remember this story, shot a couple of cops and then put the Gadsden flag on them, "Don't tread on me." Was that considered an act of terrorism? There was a guy last year, at the beginning of last year in 2014, two guys actually who were from the Klan who wanted to do some sort of bizarre X-ray death machine to kill all the Muslims in upstate New York. They just got sentenced. One of them did for 8 years. That story got almost no coverage. So when you talk about right-wing terrorism, not so much. A little bit, but not too much. Now, the president's point is larger than that, though. You're overblowing the whole thing. Yes, it's real. Yes, of course we should do everything we can in our power to fight back against it. But there are other gigantic issues in America. I mean, when you talk about mass shootings, there's more than one mass shooting per day in America this year. Statistically speaking, that is a much greater threat to you and your family. So if we were proportionate in terms of threat, we would cover right-wing terrorism 5 times more than Muslim terrorism, and we'd cover mass shootings 1,000 times more than we'd cover any kind of terrorism. But that's not what's happening. So let's look at the actual numbers. Of course, the president turns out to be right. The Intercept looked at the number of mentions each word got in the past month on CNN, for example. Terrorism was mentioned 427 times. ISIS, 404 times. Climate change, which again is a much greater threat to humanity. Not to say ISIS is not a threat, it is. But climate change in reality is changing our planet as we speak with possibly devastating consequences, according to almost all the scientists in the world. Only 135 mentions, as opposed to over 800 when you combine terrorism and ISIS. Poverty. Income inequality is an enormous issue for Americans. They say it in every single poll. They almost scream it in every single poll, only mentioned 34 times. CISA is a law that we're going to talk about a little bit later in this program. I'm going to tell you all the details of it as we do the show live, and then you'll get to see it up on YouTube as well, that it invades our privacy. It gives away our constitutional rights. On CNN in the last month, 0 mentions of it. Taking away American rights? Who cares about that Constitution? Nobody cares. ISIS, they're going to take away our rights. No, we're taking away our rights. Congress is doing that. Oh my God, ISIS is going to terrorize us. No, the mass shootings are terrorizing us every single day in America. Somewhere else, somewhere new, somewhere unexpected, but now it should be expected. Somewhere probably in your neck of the woods, somebody's going to do a mass shooting. But shh, the ice caps are melting. The waters are going to go up. Shh. Okay, well, that's CNN. They did a deplorable job. Now, Fox News, you're not going to be surprised, is similar numbers. In fact, amazingly, they mentioned it less than CNN. CNN is more obsessed. On Fox News, terrorism was mentioned 288 times. ISIS was mentioned 278 times. Climate change, unsurprisingly, was mentioned less at 106 times. Poverty, 35 times, slightly higher than CNN. CISA, look at that, big fat 0 again. I thought the right-wingers in Fox News cared so much about our Constitution. Don't tread on me. Oh, you want to give it our constitutional right, core constitutional rights away in the middle of the night? I'm never going to mention it. Okay, now that's all right, guys. I understand that there is a progressive alternative on television, MSNBC. I'm sure the numbers will be dramatically different for them. Well, let's take a look. Terrorism was mentioned 366 times. ISIS mentioned 350 times. Those are both significantly larger than Fox News. Give them credit, climate change was mentioned a little bit more than the other two networks, 170 times, but nowhere near the mentions of ISIS and terrorism. Poverty was mentioned less than it was on CNN or Fox News at 31 times. And CISA, the giving away of our privacy rights, once again, a big fat 0. Nada. Wow, what diversity on television. All those different opinions on cable news. Now, what you're getting out of television is the mainstream. Be scared, be very scared. ISIS is coming, terrorism is coming, Sharia law, oh my God, they're around every corner, watch out! The real dangers, don't worry about those. Yeah, we hardly ever mention those. And then your rights as American citizens. Who cares? The government gets to snoop in on everything you do online. We're never gonna mention that because we kind of like it. We're a giant media company that often works with the government. And in the past, we've helped the government get your information. Why would we mention it? That would be silly. And the government doesn't want us mentioning it. The government is run by politicians. The politicians pour in billions of dollars in political advertising to TV companies. Shh. Was President Obama right? Even more than he realizes.